Peter. De meneer. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you for coming too. Thank you for the film. And I read that you already started to write script 2011 when you was like talent campus member here in Berlin.
Yes.
Perhaps you can tell us a little bit
Yes,
about the story.
We started it in 2010, and in 2011 we were here at the Berlinale script station. So 5 years after the first draft, here we are back with the film. So this is very nice to be here again, now on the other side.
Yes, it's quite a success. And
Yes, it took us some time. It was a bit hard to finance this kind of film because it doesn't fit the stereotypes of what people expect from movies from Balkans. So
yeah.
at the same time, that was the advantage and disadvantage. So it was ping pong.
Okay, and what has driven you to tell the story about this new rich people, this cold society, up from the other people in Serbia?
Well, I would like to give the mic
Yeah,
to
please.
Sasha because this whole thing started with her idea for a short film, which we developed into a feature.
Yeah, so the first 10 minutes of the film that you see were actually imagined to be the only 10 minutes of a short film. That Nikola, after I told him about it, said, no, we need to follow him for the next 7 days in order to understand why she leaves, because it's, you don't really see, you just see her face. You can only imagine what she's imagining when she's looking at them. Actually, the origin was, back then, in 2009, I was living in a part of the city which is sort of populated by people who live in a sort of a bubble. This part of the city is not really what the rest of Belgrade is like. And I guess I was walking around them all the time, not belonging to that kind of a group of people, obviously. But I guess in my mind they stuck. And I was always imagining like, it's not like this is a cut off part of the city. They cannot live here and not see everything else. And I was just thinking, how did they get there?
Yeah, and everything is mixed up in Belgrade. We don't have like areas where this is like rich people area or this is poor people area. Everything is mixed up, like one right next to the other.
But they appeared as if though they do not see where they really are. It's not like, I don't know what Nikola just said, that you can actually live somewhere and not see different classes. And more importantly, they're not born into this money. They made it, and they can obviously remember how they got there. But somehow they managed to sort of make themselves forget. And obviously the film is about what price they paid and where what's buried underneath.
So it's told like by this Dutch woman, this translator, everything for sell here, and they sell like their souls.
Exactly.
She was like a filter for the two of us. She was saying things that like she and I would talk to this guy. Whatever. We made her as this kind of a mystery woman who lives there, who is not from Belgrade, but at the same time she's also alone and she has her troubles, but she has the cynicism around the world. You know, things have changed recently in Serbia, and I don't know if people are really aware of this kind of capitalist hysteria that we live in at the moment. And she comes obviously from the Western Europe, where she has this kind of thing been going on for years, and she's very aware of all the issues, and she can address him like.
Yeah, she seems to be the sober one, whereas everyone is like drunk on money and fake success.
Like, you had like the premiere, like yesterday.
Yesterday, Alfie. Yeah.
Then the film will be shown in Serbia soon.
Yes, soon on 26th of February we are opening the biggest film festival in Serbia, and then right after that it will be in cinemas. The campaign is really going on for like 2 months now in Serbia, so I'm really curious to see how people will react. So far people react like visually, okay, this looks different, this type of story seems different, but let's see when when they go and really watch the film. When they go.
Yes, I'm curious too. So perhaps now we can turn over here and
Yes,
we can ask
please.
the audience. Perhaps you have some questions.
Everything you wanna ask.
Yes, I think it's
So-
also interesting for you to.
Yeah. Yesterday somebody asked about how did we make the sweat so perfect and stuff like that. So I enjoyed answering stuff like that.
Okay, so go on. So over there, we wait for the microphone.
Hello.
Hello.
Maybe I just wanted to ask. I didn't. I think I didn't really get the reason for the lover of Mina. Why was there Mina's lover in the story? What did you want to say or show by that scene, the first scene? Thank you.
Okay, yeah, well, besides being younger, he is saying something. Okay, the film opens with this very strong sex scene that turns into something very romantic and poetic. And this poetry that he's been saying is a huge contrast. And this opening shot that lasts for such a long time is this whole opening scene is stylistically a bit different than the rest of the film, which puts you in a mood that is more calm, relaxed, and poetic. And this poem, that is my favorite poem by a very famous Serbian poet, is something that kind of talks about the film and the emotion that I have during the summer in Belgrade. And he is sort of a catalyst, and the way he sees the world and reacts, and the type of apartment in which he lives, and the area, I don't know if you could see, it's a bit different. It's something that's more careless. So he's there just to give this totally different idea and picture. And then when they meet again, when the two guys meet, they don't know who they are and how they're connected. It's like just a coincidence, and they will never know that he's the lover and he's the husband. So I don't know if I answered the question. Thank you.
Some more questions? Perhaps I would just know, is it a modern poem or is it like a classical one?
It was written in the 90s. He wrote it 2 days before he died. So he was already, he's a famous translator also for American and British poets. And he wrote it while he was really just before dying. So his wife told us that, and she was very happy that we took that poem because it's not that famous. He made some other that are more famous. But for me, that is something that we found that on rehearsals because we didn't rehearse the script. We were doing all the other things, like how they walk, how they interact. We improvised the other conversations. So this, at one point when I did it with Tamara and Slaven, who plays lover, I was like, okay, let's just read some poems and see where it goes, and then it stuck with me. So that's how it got into it.
Thanks. Are there some more questions?
In the last scene, I thought it was a quite old car, not fitting in the time. Did I get that right?
In the last scene, the car that, okay, it's supposed to be her car. It's the brand new Fiat that's supposed to look like it's old, but it's absolutely new. But it's like a retro chic, and that belongs to her. So that's also, everything was thought of. What would she drive? What kind of car? Okay, she thinks she's a bit different. She's this kind of, the way she dresses, she thinks she doesn't belong to that. So of course she would drive something that looks old, but it's like absolutely new and expensive.
Okay. Oh, there are two more questions.
First of all, how long was the period of shooting? Like, how long did you shoot for?
We had 38 days, but with long breaks because a lot of scenes, a lot of characters, a lot of locations. It was very difficult to organize it. So we had we didn't shoot it like 38 days straight. We had like even 1 month break. So yeah, it was something like that. But we did a lot of rehearsals before. So most of the shots you see in the film are first, second, or third take. Like really the opening. I didn't do a lot of repetitions, only for these complicated Steadicam technical shots, but everything else was really, the opening shot is the first take.
And second question Jan, is that your name?
Miloš.
Miloš.
Miloš. What was the most difficult scene for you to shoot? Because, I mean, you don't have a lot of dialogue, you have to
Well,
admit it, so...
Thanks. Well, it's actually a couple of scenes. There was physical one that's running, you know, jogging. It was like 12 miles, like 8 takes with a mile. One take each was a mile, yeah. But emotionally, it was a sex scene, actually, because it's so different from me, and it's some kind of that kind of aggression is taking its toll after you shoot it, and you feel like you're not that kind of a person, and you feel, you know, that was the most difficult scene in the movie for me.
There are some more questions. Yeah, over there.
Hello.
Hello.
Nearan. Okay. My question is, why did you add this Western girlfriend of Mina, which I think was Karen, name?
Karen, yes.
And what did you put her for in the movie?
Well, we kind of talked a bit about it before. She is, we needed someone who doesn't belong to the society in which, who is foreigner, both as this kind of thriller MacGuffin, okay, who is this mystery woman, does she know something about where she is, but at the same time, she is someone who speaks out directly, and we wanted it to be in different language, in this totally different tone. Her physicality is different than everything else in the film, so she was there to kind of balance and kind of ease things with the cynicism. Do you want to add something?
Yeah, I wanted to add, because she's my favorite character, and she's one of the first that I came up with. And I remember there was this stupid film with Angelina Jolie where she's like a policewoman, and she finds a trace in the ground of a footprint, and then she puts $1 next to it. So when somebody is looking at the picture, they can tell the size of the footprint. And that was her, for me. Like, when you look at all of them, you need like a, I don't know, like a little point, like, okay, this is what is normal. She can see that they're all a bit crazy. Like when she tells Miloš at the party, everybody here is a maniac. So I just wanted like one of those things on the map that you can sort of orient yourself around her. Yeah, and then she reappears at the end, and we just wanted to create this feeling of claustrophobia, that everybody sort of, it's a big city, it's 2.5 million people, and these people are in a bubble. So when you have people reappearing, or when he runs into her and follows her, it creates a sense of a smaller world within a world, I hope.
Okay. We have a question in the front.
Hi. Thank you for a movie. I think it was worth watching. It was worth watching. I really enjoyed it, and I was wondering about question of inspiration, of your inspiration. Maybe my interpretation of this will be too far, but I was wondering if L'Adventure by Michelangelo Antonioni was inspiration to this film, because I see a lot of similarities. And would you tell something more about it?
Yeah. Antonioni is one of my favorite directors, and Stasa also. But we didn't start with, okay, this will be an homage to Antonioni or whatever, but the way he talks about the Italian society in the 60s and the themes that he was dealing back then, and what was important for the country that was destroyed and how it was rebuilt, and what came with this new society is something that also we did. And when we started writing it and showing it to people, everybody was like, this is Antonioni vibe, but it's not like we wanted.
Yeah, it's interesting because there were other films that we were sort of referencing visually or acting, or we never mentioned Antonioni, even though he is, as Nikola said, one of our favorite directors. But this is literally the 10th time somebody said, "Oh, was he one of your influences?" And obviously he was, but
he was subconsciously, yeah, because we
and
grew up on his
even
films.
there's that dog scene where Petra walks out from the club and the dogs are barking, and I think in the Clis there's a big scene with dogs, if I remember correctly. So obviously that was somewhere in my mind.
And those moments when also La Notte is even, I think, bigger in influence than L'Avventura, although it is about disappearance, but La Notte is more about this class and this emotion, and the party scenes in La Notte are, nobody can make it better, and crazy.
Okay, thank you. So
Thank
perhaps
you.
we start here and then we go over there.
I found it very disturbing in the film that no one talked. And all these terrible things happen. Peter has, as far as he knows, lost his wife forever. And he says, oh, everything's okay, no problem, everything's going well. And then the two of them finally meet up again, and there's nothing. And they go off, they don't say a word to each other. Then Nina sees Carol, and they greet each other, and her face lights up, and she sees her friend. And then they, in the end, the last scene, they drive off in this Fiat. They never talk. So, what did you want to say with that?
Well, exactly this emotion that you have, that it is terrifying. I mean, how much can, I mean, the dialogues, they're talking, there is a lot of talking in the film, but it's never about the subject is always hidden. So what is the secret, what is hidden, and why aren't we talking about things? No, it's difficult, you can fall into this kind of pathetic cliches of people not talking, and Facebook and everything. We didn't want to be direct about it, but like to go really deep into just the emotion of why aren't they doing what they're supposed to. And also I think that the tension in the film, the suspense comes also because of that. You expect them to behave in one way, which is normal, but they're not. And still it looks like a normal life, a regular life. And why is it like that? Why is it, that's something that was the very beginning.
Yeah, what is it that they're afraid that it's going to come out once they start speaking? So I think they don't know for themselves, and this is why they're avoiding. And this is why I think the frustration that is created when you're watching it is because Petra gives off like this impression that he's trying to look for her, but he's really not. Or he scratches, because I think deep down he knows that she wasn't abducted by the aliens. She left.
Yes, he goes to the police station, and as soon as, okay, there's this guy who knows me, and I would have to tell him something about the situation I'm in, and the other people around him, it's, okay, no, better not.
Yeah, better not tell myself that she left because of me, because who would leave me after all I've done to become this perfect person? So, yeah. And
also
this is why Slaven, the girl asked in the beginning, this is why the scene exists, because it's not just if they're talking, but the way that he communicates with his body, with his face. I mean, the lack of communication is on every single level. So he's very intense, and the rest of them are just sort of like a bit like dolls, really well-rehearsed dolls.
Yeah, and as I said in the rehearsals, we didn't do the script at all, like the lines from the script. We did everything else, the characters, because everything is underneath. So when those lines come, they can just go with it, because everybody has a different agenda, and everybody has some kind of a different and complicated relationship with the other people, which they don't address directly.
There was a question over there at the end.
Thank you for asking so many questions.
Yes,
it's
we
really
enjoyed
nice
this.
Because the film came up yesterday, so we didn't really have an opportunity to speak to anyone about it.
So is there a question over there still? Yeah.
I jinxed it now, but
I'd like to ask two questions. The first one is, why do you choose to end there? Because, in my opinion, you can end from anywhere, starting from when Mina's voice shows up
Uh-huh.
till like maybe driving 5 more minutes till the last scene. And the second question is that why do you choose humidity as your film title? As I personally come from a place where it's very humid, so I don't really kind of sense the humidity in the film, but I kind of sense the heat. Okay, so that is the 2 questions.
Heat is also a good title that exists in a very good film, but humidity is also it's very hard in a big city, concrete city, to live with this. And Belgrade is on 2 big rivers, so during the summer the humidity is extremely high and it's really unbearable. It's not like, imagine 40 degrees with 98% of humidity in the city and the concrete is high, so this is the kind of something surrounding them that's really aggressive and attacking them, and also this whole idea of water and floods, something that is much stronger than the world in which you live. And so